What is the spiritual dream meaning of abduction?
Look, to even begin to understand this dream, we have to start with a real story, because you need to understand just how high the stakes are. Okay, so picture this. June 5th, 2002, a 14-year-old girl, Elizabeth Smart, is ripped from her own bed at knife point. And get this, her little sister is right there in the same room watching it all happen, just completely frozen in fear. This wasn't some bad dream. This was real life. For 9 agonizing months, she was held captive, chained, assaulted, and tormented with maybe the most twisted psychological weapon imaginable. Her captors told her again and again that this horror was ordained by God.
But she came home. And I don't just mean physically. She walked right back into the world, stood up in a courtroom, and faced her captor with a will of pure iron. Today, she's one of the most powerful advocates for child safety on the planet. See, she didn't just survive. She rebuilt her entire self from the ground up.
And that reckoning she had, that fight for her soul that started in the darkest place you can possibly imagine, well, it looks, it feels, and it sounds exactly like the dream you just woke up screaming from.
So let's get one thing straight. This dream is not random noise. It's not just your brain playing a cheap horror movie for itself. When you dream of being taken, of being held down, dragged away from everything you know, your psyche, your deepest self, is staging a radical intervention. And it's staging it on your behalf.
So you need to ask yourself right now and be honest, where in your life have you handed over your power, your will, to someone or something that has done absolutely nothing to deserve it?
What part of you? Is it your creativity, your ambition, your actual spirit? What part of you is being held hostage right now, forced to be something that it's just not? And who or what has managed to convince you that this cage you feel like you're in is your destiny?
Yeah, I know. These are not comfortable questions. And that's a good thing, because your comfort zone, it's not serving you anymore. It's become a danger zone. This dream is a raw, unfiltered mirror, and it's telling you it's time to look.
So what is this dream really trying to show you? It's pointing a giant, flashing arrow at 3 critical things. 1. Your autonomy is under siege. 2. Your nervous system is screaming its head off. And 3. Your spirit is calling you home.
All right, let's break that down. First, your autonomy is under siege. What does that mean? It means some outside force, maybe a toxic relationship, a job that's crushing your soul, or some rigid belief system. It's completely colonized your decision-making. It's running the show, making your choices for you. And deep down, your soul knows it, even if you've been trying your best to ignore it.
Number 2, your nervous system is speaking. All that unprocessed stuff, trauma, grief, anxiety, it doesn't just disappear into thin air. No, it goes underground, and then it erupts in your dream space. What you're seeing is your inner life refusing to be put out. This isn't just a scary dream. This is life-saving data. And number 3, your spirit is calling for you to reclaim it. Look, this is not a new story. This whole theme of being taken and then returning, it's a sacred story of transformation you find in pretty much every spiritual tradition. Think about it. Moses taken from his mother, Joseph sold into slavery, Persephone dragged to the underworld. Every single one of them came back. And they came back changed. They came back powerful.
So let me be crystal clear about this. Your dream is not a death sentence. It is not some prophecy that something terrible is going to happen. It's a summons, an urgent, non-negotiable call to action, to change your life.
You know, the abduction dream doesn't pop up when things are just peachy. It arrives at a critical threshold. It shows up when something fundamental has to change, or something absolutely essential inside of you is going to die. Elizabeth Smart had to live that brutal truth in real time, out in the waking world. You are living that very same truth while you sleep.
So, really the only question left, the question this entire dream is screaming at you, is this. Are you going to be brave enough to listen?
Part 2. Look, the abduction dream shapeshifts. It disguises itself, and every single variation carries a specific message for you. If you miss the nuance, you miss the entire message. So let's crack this code, shall we?
Okay, first things first, we have to identify the threat. Is it a stranger, someone you know, or something else entirely? Who is taking you is the very first clue to understanding what is taking you, because what you don't know absolutely can hurt you. So if a stranger takes you, the threat is something you haven't even named yet. It's an unexamined pattern, a dynamic you've just kind of normalized but never really faced. And let's be honest, what has more power over us than the threats we refuse to name? I want you to sit with this. I mean, really sit with it. Journal it. Say it out loud. Your task here is to unmask this fear, to give it a name, because in naming it, you start to reclaim your power.
Now, what if it's someone you know? A partner, a parent, a boss. This is one of the most painful versions of this dream. If you've had it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Your subconscious is screaming at you, flagging a dynamic that has become toxic. Ask yourself this question, and I need you to be brutally honest here. If the answer is yes, you are being abducted in real time every single day. And that's a cage you have to break out of. It has to stop. And if it's aliens, this points to a really deep spiritual disconnection. That feeling of being profoundly alienated from your own life, your own purpose. It's like your spirit is being treated like some lab specimen, analyzed, dissected, but never, ever truly seen.
All right, let's look at how your role in these dreams changes everything. It's not just about what happens to you, it's what you do that reveals where your power really is. If you're just a witness in the dream, you feel powerless. You're watching someone you love get consumed by something. Addiction, depression, a toxic relationship, and you're just standing there. But here is the hard truth you have to accept. You have to recognize the boundary between compassion and your own self-destruction. Your job is not to set yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. You can't save someone who hasn't chosen to be saved. Escaping, fighting back. That's your psyche rehearsing freedom. It's a directive. It's practice. But being unable to escape? That's a sign of repressed agency. It's not a directive, it's a diagnosis. A diagnosis of a voice that has been suppressed for way too long. So if you're paralyzed in the dream, don't just sit in despair. Start small. Right now, today. Say one true thing you've been holding back. Your voice isn't gone, you hear me? It's just been buried. It's time to start digging.
Okay, the destination. It's a huge symbol. Where you're being taken is never random. It reveals the exact nature of the transformation you are being called to make right now.
Being pulled underground, that signifies the descent. This is the Persephone dream. It's about a period of profound, often dark and painful inner transformation. But that darkness is always the precursor to a profound rebirth.
So don't fight the descent. The underworld is not your tomb, it is your chrysalis. The shadow work you are forced to do here is what will actually empower you on the other side.
And what if you're taken to another dimension? This means small changes are not going to cut it anymore. Your spirit is screaming that the life you're living needs a major overhaul, a total reinvention. So please stop just tinkering around the edges of your life.
Now we need to talk about the red flags. Because some dreams are not gentle suggestions. They are full-blown emergencies, and they demand your attention now.
If a child is taken in your dream, that child is you. It's your inner child, it's your creativity, your vulnerability, that part of you that still knows how to play and believe in magic, and something in your waking life is threatening to extinguish it.
And what happens when the dream doesn't just happen once, but it repeats night after night after night?
Well, it becomes the most urgent variation there is. A recurring abduction dream is your psyche's fire alarm blaring in your ear. It's not being dramatic, it's being persistent because you are not listening. This is a crisis signal, and it deserves crisis-level attention this week, not next month.
And if you're taken from a sacred space, from a ritual, it's time to take a long, hard look at your spiritual life. Does your faith actually make you feel freer, or does it make you feel more imprisoned? Spirituality that diminishes you isn't sacred. It is just another form of captivity.
Finally, let's talk about the path out. Because there are dreams that don't just show you the cage, they actually hand you the key. Being abducted and then released unharmed, this is a dream of mercy. It is a profound message of hope, straight from your spirit. It's showing you that the forces holding you back do not have to be permanent. A release is not just possible, it's available to you.
And that brings us to the final, most important question of all. Because the only person keeping you in captivity right now might actually be you. The door is already open, so why are you still inside? It's time to walk out.
Part 3. You know what the dream is saying? Honestly, that was the easy part. But just knowing isn't enough. Not even close. This is about what you're gonna do, not someday, now.
So I'm going to lay out a set of tools for you. And listen, every single one is different because every woman listening to this is different. Your job, your only job right now, is to find the one that makes you feel something physical, the one that hits you right in the gut.
That feeling, that's your signal. That is the one you need the most. So please, don't second guess it. Don't you dare talk yourself out of it. Choose your tool, okay? Let's begin. Okay, first up, we're gonna map your inner world. If you're someone who finds clarity by writing things down, by analyzing, yeah, these first tools are for you. If you're a journaler, listen up. This is your assignment for tonight. I want you to take out a piece of paper and draw this captivity map. And you have to be brutally honest. I mean it. Don't write what sounds good, write what is actually true. And that area you end up circling, that's it. That's where the dream is pointing. That's where you start. Period.
Now for my analytical women. Your brain is running a program that is, let's be real, killing you slowly. Your task is to audit that program. Pinpoint that core belief, you know the one. Maybe it's something like, it's just safer to be controlled than to be free. Then you're going to list the evidence for and against it. And that gap, that space between what you believe and what is actually true, that is where your freedom begins.
All right, let's move from the internal to the external, because sometimes the chains are very, very real. These next tools are all about confronting the actual forces of control out there, in your relationships, at your job, even in your spiritual community.
If you have even a tiny suspicion your relationship is the source of this dream, listen to me. Your window is narrowing. For the next 3 days, I want you to stop listening to your thoughts and start listening to your body. Your body's a truth teller. It doesn't lie, even when your mind has been overriding it for years. Just write down the physical data. After 72 hours, the pattern will be so clear it's undeniable. That's your cue. This isn't a dress rehearsal. This is your life.
And for the woman who feels trapped at work, you are literally trading the hours of your life for your own imprisonment. Think about that. So here's what you're gonna do. Write down 3 unfiltered professional non-negotiables, what you need, not just what you're settling for. And if your current job doesn't provide them, staying still is not safety. It's a slow erasure of your soul. You have to start moving. Update your resume, make 1 call, send 1 email. This week, no excuses.
What if your abduction dream is happening in a church or some other religious place? Well, that's your soul screaming that your spiritual environment isn't safe. Look, deconstruction isn't about abandoning faith. Not at all. It's about figuring out the difference between genuine spiritual nourishment and human control. It's about finding a faith that liberates you, not one that puts you in a cage.
Okay, and that brings us to our final set of tools. This part is all about restoration. It's about the urgent, absolutely critical need to reclaim yourself, to feed your own soul before there is literally nothing left to give. This one's for the creative woman whose soul feels like it's suffocating. The second you wake up from that dream, before you do anything else, you're gonna sketch it. The goal here isn't to create a masterpiece, it's about capture. Stick figures are perfect. Do this for 21 days straight. I promise you, the patterns that show up, the faces, the colors, the places, that's your psyche speaking its own language. It's showing you exactly what's holding you captive. To all the mothers, all the caretakers out there, your well is dry. That dream is a 5-alarm fire signaling total self-abandonment. So this week, you will carve out 2 uninterrupted hours that belong to no one but you. This is not a spa day. This is not a luxury. This is emergency maintenance. The people in your life don't just need you there. They need you whole. And you cannot pour from an empty cup.
All right, it's time to reclaim your power. I want you to create a simple ceremony for yourself. Light a candle, whatever feels right, and speak aloud the things that have been taken from you. You need to say the words, I reclaim my voice, I reclaim my confidence, I reclaim my peace. You know, this is more than just words. It's like neurological reprogramming, but wrapped in spiritual language. Speaking it out loud does something that just wishing for it in silence never ever will.
And finally, a word on why this matters so damn much. Because this was never just about a dream, was it? This is about your life.
I mean, think about Elizabeth Smart. She didn't survive 9 months of hell by just going along to get along. No way. She survived because some indestructible part of her, some tiny, deep ember, simply refused to be put out. She kept that little flame burning until she got home.
And you have that same ember inside of you. You do.
And your dream, that terrifying, recurring, awful dream, that's the light from it. That's the part of you that refuses to accept that this is your permanent reality. Whatever you do not let that light go out.
The life you were meant to live, the one where you're free and whole and completely yourself, it's not on hold. It isn't waiting for you to be ready or for the perfect moment to arrive. It's waiting for you to be brave enough to claim it. Start today.